Hello and welcome to another video with me, John. We are here today in Logic. We're going to look at panning effects on one side whilst keeping the dry signal on the other. Does that make sense? It's quite straightforward, but it's something that is a bit fiddly if you don't know how to do it. But understanding it opens up a whole world of possibilities for you. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. A few things in there, little bits of detail about stereo tracks, mono tracks, stereo sends and mono sends, and it sounds complicated. It's not really, but this is a really cool technique used in lots of records and like a vast creative potential. So let's jump into Logic and I will show you what we're doing. So this is the track that we want to hear. And it's as dry as a bone. So let's come down to the channel strip here. We want to pan this to the left. Let's listen in context. So it's a fairly sparse arrangement. We want to put a bit of reverb and a bit of space on the right hand side. So normally when you do add a reverb, you'd maybe put it on an insert or a send. If you're putting it on an insert, you create an example of Space Designer. Let's pop this down here for you. It will sound like this. And you can hear it's just on the right as you'd expect because we're going from top to bottom. So input, EQ, reverb, any sends, and then we've got the panning, and then we've got the automation, then we've got the panning, and then we've got the output volume. So of course, if it's panned to the left, all of the reverb will be on the left. So that's not what we want. Let's get rid of that. How we do it is we go to send. So you click send, you go bus. Let's go bus 14. Can be any bus, of course, and bus 14 automatically appears here. So let's call this reverb R. Yeah, bus 14. So this matches up. So the way it works, you click on in the inspector here, you click on the track on the send, and this here will be. I'm not explaining this very well, but this will be the send channel, as you've probably already experienced. So we add our incidence of Space Designer. Of course, appears up here helpfully. There is none because we haven't turned up the fader for the send. So you can either do that with your mouse or you can alt click on it. Alt click, or I think that's option click, and that will set it to 0 dB, which is a good amount to start with. So we'll pan this right, and you'd think that would work. But no, it isn't. It's super quiet. I'm not quite sure exactly what's happening there, but I think it's to do with the Logic's pan law, because this is a stereo file. This is really important, and it tripped me up to start with. As you can see, these two circles mean it's a stereo file. You can click it to make it mono. But because I recorded this digitally through the Kemper, it's the SPDIF stereo channel out. And when we try this trick that way, it doesn't work because this is a stereo bus. If we make this a mono bus, it makes much more sense. So the plugin is operating in mono, or at least it should be. Speaking of sends, I'd appreciate it if you'd send a like my way via the button below. Likes and subscriptions do help the channel, and that's all good. I know everyone says this in every video, but we have to do it. Otherwise, nobody finds the videos. There's no point making them. So anyway, consider that asked, and let's carry on. And the send is panned to the right. So now we have what we want. So what's cool is that we can actually EQ this send as well as do virtually anything else to it that we like. Space Designer does give you the option of EQing within it, but we don't want to do that because, well, we could do, of course, but most plugins don't give you that. Certainly, most EQs don't give you an EQ. You might get some tone controls, but so here we can actually shape the sound of the reverb in any way that we like. Let's find that. Where's it gone? So infinite possibilities there, really, really interesting, and you can have a lot of fun. Now, this example is a very extreme one. I probably wouldn't use that much, but it's so that you can hear it as a demonstration. So let's add a delay. Echo Boy is a good one, mono. Again, of course, it appears up here where we don't really need it. Let's make this 16ths. Sixty-fourths. So that's already becoming quite interesting. A quite interesting sound now. Let's do something with the pitch. Pitch shifter. Come on. So we could put some funny modulation on it even. Let's do vibrato. Remember that we're still hearing the dry signal on the left. Okay, so we've gone to a fairly extreme example there, but you get the plan, you get the picture. So a bit more information about the stereo versus mono. With the stereo track, as I say, you need to make the bus, the send, a mono send. If you're working with a mono track, this will by default be a stereo bus, but you can leave it as a stereo bus. You may want to change it to mono depending on the effects that you're putting in here. If there's stereo stuff in here, you might want to just keep it mono for the simplicity. But it's this being stereo and this being stereo. This is where the problem occurs. So if either that's mono or that's mono, you're good to go. There are other ways of doing this. For me, this is probably the most effective. I realise that the ideas that I'm coming up with here, like what I've done in the demo there, not necessarily the greatest or most tasteful, but it's just to give you a picture of what's possible when we're working like this. I hope this has been useful for you. I'd love to hear how you use this in the comments below, or maybe just if there's alternatives, better ways of doing it, I'll be happy to hear them. But until then, I wish you well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.